Just like I told you, I thought Beans Planner was in a coma. I didn't expect it to.
It's called burnout.
Oh shit! Is that the name of the show now? Called Burnout.
It should be.
Oh well, I didn't expect Burnout to wake up out of its coma during the holiday season.
Burnout did wake up, and that's why we didn't have Beansplaining.
Wow.
All right. Welcome back to Beansplaining, my beautiful beans. We've been gone for a while. Literally, I think we had just promised, or not promised, but I think we had just announced that we would be posting every week, and then we stopped posting at all.
Wow.
Hey guys, we want to get a lot better at posting, so we're gonna do this weekly schedule. Drops off the face of the planet.
It's usually how it works. I tried doing daily stuff one time at one point.
Like social media stuff?
Yeah, like back when I was end of high school.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to do this every day. And I was like, yeah, nah, I'm not. I'm not going to do this every day. My life isn't interesting enough to do something every day.
Yeah. I also know a lot of people do repost, but we don't even have a big enough catalog to repost.
Right.
Speaking of social media, that's actually a really good transition into today's book. Do you have no idea what today's book is?
No. I was ready to hop on the Christopher Watts hate train there. Peter Watts, my bad.
Who the fuck is Christopher Watts?
It's his little brother.
Oh, is it in your head canon?
Yeah.
Today we're gonna be talking about Subprime Attention Crisis by Tim Hwang. Whenever you look at the front of the book, it says advertising and the time bomb at the heart of the internet. Do you have an ad blocker on your phone or on your computer?
Yeah. Pretty sure I do.
How do you handle ads for the most part?
How do I feel about ads?
No, because no one likes ads, right?
No.
That's the general consensus is we all hate ads. But, and I'm sure you know this, the internet runs on ads. The only options we have are to either have ads or to pay for services. The free internet, I guess, is what I should say, runs on ads. Because if something is free, you are the product, right?
Right. I don't let their little fingers get in my brain.
You don't let their fingers touch your brain? Have you ever saw an ad before a video or popping up on Instagram and it made you buy something?
I will say that, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's mainly because of the cookies. The cookies that at the time it was watch stuff. So all these one of the worst advertisers for things that I've noticed in my hobbies that I go through is watching. Not watch. Oh my gosh. Wristwatch companies. There's a bunch of micro brands.
The real TikTok.
Yeah, the real TikTok.
Yeah.
And the worst I've seen is micro brands, which micro brands are small companies that they use movements, so guts and internal parts from big watch manufacturers. They'll take those, put them in their watch, and design their own cases and straps for them. And so it's people trying to start a business, essentially, appealing to a certain aesthetic that's maybe a little more risque that a big watch company won't take on.
Interesting. I didn't know anything about that.
Yeah. And they'll use nice movements, Swiss movements, very nice watch stuff. But they'll take it from one of the big ones, and this isn't Swiss, but one of the biggest ones is Seiko, a watch brand that I really like. They're very entry level.
I think that's pretty popular.
Yeah, Seikos are very common, but modified Seikos are probably even more common than regular Seikos.
Really?
There's companies that just specialize in getting Seiko parts and modifying them in a sense of blacking out the aesthetic or making them a little closer to looking like a Rolex than Seiko probably wants to. So,
what about retro styles?
Yes, that's also a big thing.
Oh.
Hamilton, the company that I bought one of my watches from, they're really big on retro styles.
Interesting.
But each watch has its own little niche community. Hamilton is known for movie watches. They're known to be watches that are in movies, and now they're actually branching over to video games. They just released a Call of Duty 7 special edition.
Oh my god, what if they made a Pep Boy?
They probably wouldn't make a Pep Boy, but they did.
Is it Pip Boy?
Pip, P-I-P.
I definitely said Pep.
Yeah, Pepperoni Boy. That's somebody with big nipples.
Oh no!
But no, they did that Stranding. They did Death Stranding watch, the walking simulator game that I played with Norman Reedus.
Norman Reedus.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do, with the babies.
Yes. They did that. They did Dune. There are a bunch of watches. That's like what Hamilton's known for. But yeah, each watches have to brand themselves somehow too, because I don't think watches inherently by themselves are as interesting enough to appeal to a lot of people. So they have to use media to appeal. And so it's kind of interesting to see how certain watches will advertise themselves to people. Of course, Hamilton's like, you've seen your favorite movie, Interstellar. Here's the Interstellar watch.
And you ate that shit up.
I did eat that shit up.
Yum, 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 yum.
But, like, I don't know. I have had some ads that don't hit home at all. But that's the whole point of advertising, right? Is trying to appeal to people personally.
It is now. Wasn't always. I mean, you think about like billboards and newspapers and how we used to do physical media advertisements, and the goal was to hit as many people as possible and hope that you hit some home runs, right? Now we have, which you probably have heard of it, but AdSense.
Mm-hmm.
It's by Google.
Yeah.
It's basically just a way to optimize companies' ads, make sure you're getting your product to the people that you want it to get to, the people that are actually going to buy it, the people that are interested in the product. Does it work? Well, that's what this book talks about. So, in the very beginning of the book, it's talking about the fact that the internet doesn't really have a business model, because it doesn't, right? The internet is the internet, and really the place where people make the most money is ads. And of course, the purpose of ads is to direct traffic to a website or to make you aware of something that you'd like to buy. And that has made most of the internet very commercial. Like, almost everything's constantly a commercial, which ties into consumerism, yada, 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 yada. So, in 2017, which, like we were talking about, this book was released in 2020, so...
Correct.
So, in 2017, advertising constituted 87% of Google's total revenue and 98% of Facebook's total revenue. So, that's pretty big numbers. Hwang goes on to talk about how pretty much all online content is literally developed just for ads. And there's something I didn't really understand, is that whenever you're, at least according to this book, whenever you're going onto a website or you're checking out someone's page or whatever and ads are popping up, that the sale of the ad for that space is happening in like microseconds. It's like a bidding. That's what AdSense is. It's a bidding system. So the companies that want to advertise to you can get the best price to the best people. That's the idea. However, we learn through this book that doesn't actually work very well. There's some evidence to support that it may be a small percentage of people that end up buying whenever the ads are correctly targeted to them. But when you compare numbers of how many people are buying when they receive, say, a magazine versus a targeted ad, the numbers just aren't really there for the amount of resources that we are putting into ads themselves.
So I have an interesting fact. This is more of early advertising days.
Mm-hmm.
You want to know what the biggest seller and the biggest pusher for ads on the internet was back in the day?
What?
Porn.
I was about to say, I feel like it's porn.
It was porn.
Because, like, we always talk about, like, no matter where... I remember being on dial-up, and no matter what website you went to, like, sometimes it would be for clothes or something, but normally the ads on the side of the screen would always be, like, hot singles in your area.
Yeah. So there's a guy who I listened to who was talking about... This is online. He was talking about the early days of AOL and, like, how he's a hacker guy. Like, that's kind of his thing now. He's now in cybersecurity and stuff like that. But back in the day, him and his little group of people resided on AOL chat rooms, and they were running, like, AOL scams and also, like, making money through the internet, which was almost kind of unheard of. They were using ad agencies for porn to get redirect money. So like if you could send out, like he would get burner accounts, make them, and then send like millions of these things out to all the AOL accounts of just porn advertisements. So people would click on it and he would get money for each click.
Wow.
So like that was, he was talking about how much money that would bring in. He was like 15 years old when he was doing this. So like,
yeah, because that's a metric is there, which there are a lot of metrics that the book talks about, but one of them is like how many times is actually clicked.
Yeah, that's a big thing is you don't even have to get, I think there's a bunch of fake burner accounts on Facebook and stuff now that are doing this stuff. They'll repost somebody else's like life story with all the context and everything. I've seen it on Reddit as well. The more interactions they get, the better. It's like
Oh yeah,
companies
because
are,
you're reusing content from someone else that's going to kind of boost what you're doing.
yeah, it's
That
like
makes
boosting
sense.
traffic to other people basically and making people look better to them.
Well, so that's not what this is necessarily, but the modern day, like almost instantaneous distribution of advertisements is known as programmatic advertising. And according to the book, it leverages software to automate the buying and selling of advertisement inventory. So again, are you the person that this ad needs to go to? Are you a person likely to buy from the ad? And is this a space that the ad wants to be shown in? And I think I've seen some podcasters or like different YouTubers talk about, like YouTube calls it something, dynamic advertisements. So like, you know, if you're in a podcast, like if we had a sponsor per se, we could say, hey, we're going to take a few minutes to talk about our sponsor, blah, blah, blah. Well, that's, you know, a write-in. You're supporting whatever advertisement has paid you. Dynamic advertising will work like AdSense, where it determines who your audience is, what advertisements they think will fit the best, and then they will just automatically bill that company for this advertisement that they are putting in front of your face.
Right.
This company doesn't know you. This company isn't like working directly with the podcaster you're listening to. It is literally just through YouTube. Now, the podcaster gets revenue, I believe, like to a certain percentage, but they don't necessarily have too much control over who the advertisers are when it comes to dynamic advertising. Since this book is from 2020, it talks a lot about Facebook and Google. And basically, most, if not all, of the statistics come from those two. So we talked about ad blocker, which on some like social media sites or some places of the internet, there are less ads, right? So obviously for advertisers, ad blockers, big deal, big problem if you didn't already figure that one out. So when it comes to ads, you are going to buy ad space from me. I'm selling you an ad. I have a website and you sell watches, very specific watches. And you're like, Tori, my consumer visits your website a lot and I want to sell advertisements to the people that go to your website. And I say, okay, well, I think that my community at my website is really worth, you know, your time. So I'm going to charge you 10 cents an ad. Cool. And you're like, you know what? You're right. That's totally correct. But what if you look at the trends and you see that even though it's populating the, you know, maybe 2,000 people are seeing your ads one day, only 4 people are clicking on them. And you're like, well, that's a really big ratio, but maybe just not that many people are interested in my watches right now. But then you go to the site yourself and the site starts loading and you see whatever, my blog, whatever it is that you attached this advertisement to, and your ad doesn't even load. Like, it's just a gray box with the X in the middle. Something has happened between the servers or between loading your images. Maybe the internet isn't fast enough. And these consumers, you're paying for this ad, and consumers are not even seeing your ad. So you reach out to me and you say, hey, issue. Consumers can't even see the ad. It's not loading properly. And I'm like, oh my God, let me go fix that. So I work with a team and we fix it. And next day you have 2,000 people look at your ad. Well, now 15 people are clicking on it. Still not really great, but understandable. You go back to the site just to make sure there are no more issues. And your ad is now at the very bottom of my page. And you reach back out to me and you're like, hey, I know that we said it was going to be 10 cents for my ad, but at 10 cents a person, and they can't even see the ad if they don't read all the way through your blog. Like, this just doesn't feel fair. And so I'm like, okay, yeah, we're going to change that. So your ad is now 8 cents. This is the boringest tale of anything, right?
Mm-hmm. Correct.
So you're like, why the fuck are we talking advertisement prices?
I can't believe you read a book on this. I want to DNF that shit so fast. So page one. Yeah.
Hey, that's the whole tagline, right? I don't DNF. No, because at the end of the day, I think what comes of all this is really interesting. So back in the day when we had billboards, that'd be more of the conversation had. Now we have AdSense and we have dynamic advertisements. So all of that conversation happens in an instant. However, because the back and forth, because the determination of where the advertisement is going to go, who all's going to see it, yada, yada. Because all of that's happening, in this scenario, it would be like you could never go back and check. Of course, you could see statistics, you could see click-throughs, you could see views, but you could never physically go check to see if that person at that time was able to see that ad. And this creates a problem. So, 2008.
The market crashed. Real bad.
Real bad. So why did the market crash? Do you remember?
Because it felt like it. No,
because it felt like it.
I think it had a lot of
It got
to
the
do with the
flu.
election, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Oh, I don't know anything about that.
Something to do with the election, if I'm not mistaken. Like,
God, I hope that wasn't in the book and I just blacked it out.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I'm pretty sure.
I thought it was the housing market.
I don't know.
Okay, I know it's the housing.
Grade. The shit happened. Okay.
You should have bought a house before then.
Yeah. I fucked up.
Yeah, I have to own my mistakes.
But then again, that is usually my go-to. What was the problem? It's the goddamn government.
I think that might be part of the Bible Belt.
Probably.
So this is something, and it says 2008, the Great Recession and the election of Obama. Housing in the 2008 election. As a result, since 2000, gross rents a share of renter income. Fuck, I'm gonna have to go down another hole. Disgusting. Oh my God, there's like a billion thought pieces. Okay, regardless of what caused it, because, like, yes, some people are saying that the government the government did, sort of, but I always thought we were placing most of the blame with banks. The government just didn't prevent it. So, in 2008, the housing bubble burst. And what had happened is prior to 2008, stop it.
House bubble what?
Burst.
Wow. Amazing.
So prior to 2008, many banks were engaging in shifty practices where they would get people who maybe didn't have the best credit or maybe really didn't have the financial stability to have these bigger loans, and they would give them to people who would end up not being able to pay the loans back. There was also some shiftiness in reselling, from my understanding, debt, and there was a specific word for it and I can't even remember, but basically banks were doing some shifty shit. Now, to prevent that ever happening again, yes, the government does have specific laws around the acceptance of certain loans, as well as the transparency of what banks are doing. So what are we selling stocks on? What are we putting our money into? What are we taking money from people for? And if you go, like, we've bought a house, you got to go in, you got to sign 50 billion pages of paperwork, and there has to be a lot of transparency, or there's supposed to be a lot of transparency in what you should expect, what you're doing, what it's going to mean for your finance. There's supposed to be a push for more financial literacy as well as transparency from banks. And that transparency gives to stability in the market, right? Because if we all are on the same page, we all feel really secure, that's when people in the market in general, security is really good, because security means that people are going to buy. People are going to invest when they feel secure. Because what fucks up the economy? When people stop investing, when people... Big government. When people or companies or big government create... So, like, even more recently, the tariff situation, right? The economy tanks because everyone is pulling out of everything because they're so insecure about what they have invested in, where their money is. Like, am I about to lose the entirety of my life savings because I have money in this or I have money in that? And you've heard, I'm sure, a lot of people talk about the tech bubble. So that has more to do with AI and some other things. But this was written before. I'm sure Hwang has a bunch to say about that. But at the end of the day, the 2008 housing crisis happened because of a lack of transparency in the market. Well, this is kind of what's happening with the internet and advertisements. So the internet is built strictly from these advertisements or pay to play. So, like, we have YouTube. Usually on YouTube, you have to watch the ads, or you can pay a subscription fee, not watch the ads. And you have to do that everywhere. Someone is having to pay someone all of the time. And how it's running right now is that the consumer often does not have to pay, because the person that's paying is the person that's paying for the advertisements. However, because of AdSense, because of how advertisement works, and because of new statistics, we can't really prove that advertisements are doing what they're supposed to do, and the internet is so saturated that it's really impossible for them to do what they're supposed to do in the first place. I don't know if you've ever done this. I have actually pretty recently, but you'll be on YouTube or Instagram and it'll be a pop-up and it'll say, when's the last time you saw an ad for Olay? When's the last time you saw an ad for Red Bull? Or it'll say something along the lines of the next 5 brands, which brand is the one you've heard about most recently? And what it's trying to do is determine if the ad that it sent you however many posts ago, did you even register it? And that's kind of how they gather their data. Of course, there's other questions like, how likely are you to go watch this movie? How likely are you to buy this, to do this?
You know how seriously I answer those questions? I'd be hitting the most random buttons I can. Throw them off, make them work for it.
Make them work for it. I'm tainting the data.
That's all right. I'm the outlier.
We never showed him an advertisement for butt fuckers. Yeah, Fedwreckers.
I need to go through and finish Idiocracy.
Yeah.
It's been a minute.
I was wondering if you...
I did. Yeah, I was like, that's Idiocracy.
Yeah. No one knows the future. And that's kind of how the book is ended. But we could proactively not only prevent the bubble, but honestly, I think it would just make a better online experience. So here's where I come in with some of my ideas. And again, we are nearing the end of 2025, and this was in 2020. So there are a few things have happened since then, just a couple. And I think, at least in the online spaces I'm in, I hear a lot of talk about this. Let me know if you also hear some of this talk. But people talk about the tech bubble. And some of this has already come to fruition in some cases, but a lot of people are, or were in the past, heavily invested in tech. And especially in certain instances, where startups will, make a lot of money and then immediately fail. lose tons of money in the market. It becomes a really big deal for a lot of people. I think this is somewhat combined with how we experience the internet. So when did you do MySpace?
No, I actually didn't. The first thing I did was Facebook.
Really? So do you remember what year that was?
2008, 2007, somewhere around there.
2008, 2007?
I think so, roughly.
So do you remember what Facebook was like back then?
Yeah, it was very rudimentary. It was like very basic. Like,
But do you feel like you had a lot more fun?
yeah, I feel like I had more fun now than I did. I mean, we would do all the fucking games and stuff they had on there.
Yeah.
What was it? Farmville? Is that one of them?
And I think Farmville was a huge one back in the day. But also, I mean, I did have a MySpace and so fun.
Oh, I know MySpace had now, just because I didn't have a MySpace doesn't mean I didn't see one. Molly had a MySpace.
Right. You knew about the MySpace.
I knew about MySpace, and I've seen, like, I like how they had integrated, like, songs. So, like, when you would get on it, it would play your song. I thought that was sick.
Your playlist.
And then, like,
I'm sure you knew about, like, Top 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seemed like much more personal.
It was. And I think, so many people talk about how it was their intro into coding, or it was the first time they had ever tried to build a website. And it was to pursue expression or do a social situation,
Right.
Like people would learn how to make little sparkly stickers on the back of their mic. That's how I got a virus back in the day.
Yeah.
And you could go in and you could personalize your playlist. You could add people, you could add widgets if you knew just the right thing to do, or you want to copy it off of someone else's page. And then we got to Facebook, and I remember probably near the same time as you, I had a friend be like, "Hey, you should really get on Facebook." And I'm like, "Oh, well, I have a MySpace." And they're like, "No, Facebook's the thing to do now. Like, everyone has a Facebook." And so I got a Facebook, and I remember immediately thinking, because it was all like blue and white.
Yeah.
And I remember immediately thinking, like, oh, this is not nearly as fun. But what was fun is that there were so many more people. Like, I felt like MySpace was so private. Like, the people following you on MySpace seemed to, sure, you could, like, reach out and make connections, but it was so often just people you knew in real life or knew tangentially that were, like, adding you on MySpace.
Sure.
But then I felt like Facebook was the dawn of globalization for just people.
Yeah. I feel like I met a lot of people I didn't know
In person.
Facebook. Yeah. I met them from Facebook as a kid. Like,
for sure.
Networking as a child and trying to, like, pretty destructive. I mean, for hindsight 2020, like, it was definitely destructive because it was like trying to live up to expectations that you think people, like, you thought everything you saw on there was a reality. In reality, it's not.
Oh yeah, because no one had social media literacy. Like, it was all brand new. And I think that was also part of the appeal, is whenever we saw it, this was a brand new thing. Now, whenever we look at social media, even if it's a brand new app, it's like, wow, this has been done a billion times, or it feels like it has.
Yeah.
But one thing that really gets me about today's social media is every time I go on there, it is awful. Every time. It's always awful. And there are still nuggets of the good things that we like. So whether that's your family sharing photos that are of your childhood and you're really happy to see them, or it's a friend posting a video of something they worked really hard on, or it's keeping up with your siblings' move to a new state. Like, there are parts of the social media experience that are still very personal. But you have to get through so much bullshit to get there.
Oh, yeah.
And now it's to the point where I feel like there's so many people that just don't do social media. They'll be like, "Oh, I have an Instagram, but please don't, like, reach out on there because I won't get back to you. I don't use it."
Yeah. I mean, I think it's become now, I think the people who have taken it as an extension of their life it's kind of like ruined it as a fun space, if that makes sense.
Well, I would argue that, yeah, I do see some people are very invested in social media, but I would argue what makes it a not fun space is the fact that, like, there's so much bullshit. Like, it's always ads. It's always, like you were talking about, people getting someone else's life story and just reposting content.
Right.
Reaction channels? Blech.
Yeah.
Like,
reaction. So my shorts is like 95% reaction channels. I've gotten through and started blocking them,
yeah,
and they still keep popping up.
yep.
It's for me
Oh, and not
personally,
even to mention the AI slop.
dude, yeah, that's
Now that's a which we'll get into that in a second, but
and it's the thing that's bothersome about it is like you can go through and look at stuff and tell that it's evidently AI. Like it is very apparent that his AI is fake, especially if it's something that I'm well versed on.
yeah.
And you can go in there and look at the comments, and everybody's commenting like, "Oh wow, this is crazy. Never knew that." And it's like, this ain't real, bud.
But did you know, and you may not know this, but the statistic is that 50% of the internet, or a little bit more than 50%, between 50 and 60, is actually just ran by bots.
Yeah.
So a lot of those comments you see, just bots.
Yeah.
Sure, every once in a while there's someone's grandpa who is not well versed on the internet who's just scrolling through. But the majority of it is we're not even talking to each other. We're literally dealing with bots. We are dealing with machines that are built to just churn out space for advertisement. It is insane. And I hate it. I hate it so much. And I feel like so many people do. But I feel like this is the bubble burst. So we talk about, OpenAI. We talk about Facebook. It's AI. Even what Amazon has, Brutus? Is it Brutus? I don't remember, but they have their own AI, Grok. I'm sure you know.
Grok.
Let's not even touch that with a 10-foot pole.
We got Grok Super Center being built in Memphis, guys.
Jesus Christ, that's so scary.
The Grok Dome.
Not the Grok Dome.
You know what's funny is I went to that job site to work there.
I know.
I didn't know that's what it was.
Well,
unfortunate. I could have sabotaged the whole thing.
Don't speak too loud, Grok will hear. So, at the end of the day, what was I talking about? So we look at all of these AI companies, all of these social media companies, tech companies, right? So, and everyone's already lost a good bit of money in tech. What we're looking at is a distaste most people have for the internet, but a requirement because the internet has become such a big part of everyone's lives. And I think this is the bubble bursting. The bubble is currently bursting. That is my opinion. I know this book was written in 2020, but, in the past however many decades, we have grown, our technology as humans has grown exponentially. And I think we're at the end stage of what we currently have. I think something else is about to emerge. I don't know what that looks like. Maybe it looks like idiocracy, where everything is branded. There's this one podcast I listen to, and they go to a planet and everyone has to say advertisements at the end of everything they say because everyone is under this corporate regime. Also know that you've been playing Outer Worlds, which is chef's kiss.
Well, even I'm thinking about, what was it, Black Mirror, where she has that implant in her head that's helping regulate her body, or she died or something.
I don't think I've seen this one.
She died and they put an implant inside of her head and she has to pay for the service. But she initially starts paying $50 and then randomly she'll start saying advertisements. And I go and they're like, hey, why is she doing this? Oh, that's because you pay for our basic edition. You need the premium edition in order to get rid of advertisements. And so they could barely afford it as is. And then they pay for the premium edition. And then the premium edition doesn't have ads. And then it randomly gets ads again. And they just keep bumping up the prices. God. And she was losing her job because she was talking about male enhancement pills to children because she was a teacher. Yeah.
Which I know, you said that's Black Mirror.
I think it's Black Mirror.
It's definitely a dystopian, overarching idea, but it's true that it's true, and it's so sad because we're made to, and of course we're in America, we're in the deep South, and we're made to think that everything has to come at a benefit. I know me and you, we have like a ton of hobbies, and we're always thinking like, okay, is this like what I'm going to do as my job? Because it's so hard to dedicate time to something that you are not going to get money out of, because it is like everything is constantly revolved around how you can monetize it. And that's everything from your life, because we see lifestyle social influencers, we see even the stuff you buy, unboxing videos, the things you make, the things you feed yourself, what it's like, what I eat in a day as a 9 to 5 worker. There's, it's, which then we get into brain rot, right?
I love brain.
And then we get like way out there and, talk about the issues with all this. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, this is what the bubble looks like when it bursts. No one's interested in the internet. The internet is flooded with ads that no one can afford to buy from, and they barely can stand seeing. And it's to the point where most people are withdrawing from the internet entirely. There's no more a Facebook. There is no longer a Facebook where you can go in and write a silly post and have your friends like it and feel like, oh, connecting with my friend, or, talk about, oh, haha, I saw your post on Facebook. And there's no real substitute for it either. And I know some things have came out, like Blue Sky came out, and then everyone's like, oh, there's issues with Blue Sky. And it also, I don't know if you know this, but it's not even available in Mississippi anymore because of like some age verification stuff.
I don't even know what Blue Sky is.
It's just another social media app. I mean, then Threads did their own thing of like X, and X has been.
Yeah, it's just so.
It's even depressing just talking about, honestly.
Yeah, it's so overwhelming and kind of like depressing, because I think even the amount of social interaction you get on social media is not enough for the human brain.
Not even close. And it's not, you're not interacting with people. You are interacting with a phone.
Yeah. And so it's like,
or a bot at worst.
yeah, I think once that doubt isn't in a new brain, it's just kind of like, like this is weird.
Yeah.
Like it's not enough. So,
but I think there is a bright side to it. Not so, mostly so we don't just end on a sad point of, hey, the internet kind of sucks now. Kind of, it really does. Because even that's another thing I was thinking about, and I meant to mention this earlier, but so we're talking about like people getting paid, individuals getting paid for their ad space on their websites. But Google AI makes it to where you no longer even click on the websites. So they don't even have to like your website is paying for AdSense for people to see, or no, you're a company paying a website through AdSense to showcase your product, but it doesn't really matter that you're paying for that advertisement space, because no one's going to see it, because no one's going to click on the website, because they're reading the AI overview. It's literally lighting money on fire. Yeah, I don't know. Without like significant structural changes to the internet, I don't see things getting better. But what's really cool is I think this has helped a lot of people understand that while the internet and the connectivity that we could have globally is really cool, life is so much better. Like, being outside of the internet is so much better. Going to touch dirt is so much better. And I don't mean that in like trad wife traditionalist way. I mean, like, I think of it in like a solar punk way of, yeah, we have technology. Yeah, we can use it for some really cool things. And we should focus on science. We should focus on development. But the part of the consumerism that has infected a lot of the technology we use is not what we wanted for our future. And it's not what we should focus on developing. We should focus on what's happening around us, and how like pushing so hard to develop AI is not going to really help you or me in the long run. But going outside and planting a garden would.
yeah.
Building better ties in your community, really good idea. finding out like what your neighbor's skills are and putting them together to help develop a better sense of community. Yeah, but it's so hard.
Yeah.
Or at least it's not, I don't want to say it's so hard. It is not how we have things set up right now. But I think the more and more we see this and more people understand what's going on, the more we will see people come back to life and not be, like we were kind of talking about it earlier, someone who's so focused on online presence. You ready for the AdSense in your brain?
I'm ready to just go plug straight into Google and sacrifice my body to them. In a vegetative state, and they use my brain for better or for worse.
Oh, you want to become a smart gel?
Sure.
Amazing. Tattoo you of head cheese. Well, I'm glad we got to sit and talk about my book.
Yeah, I couldn't do that. I could not sit down. I mean,
it wasn't a long read.
It would have been a long read for me. It could have been 10 pages long, and I would have been like, oh, God.
I will say Hwang makes it a lot easier to be interested about these things. I would say for what it is, 4 out of 5 beans.
Word.
Not that this is my most sought after material, but I love the thought experiment. I love how timely the book is in this case. And I really like talking about it with you. And if anyone else is interested in talking about it, would love to. I think the more we understand these things and the more we know about what's going on in the world and what options are available to us and what experts think we should work on, we can actually build that good future that we want instead of, looking at a Black Mirror episode and thinking, wow, that's the dystopian future we're headed for.
Yeah.
Gosh, we're going to get down another bad hole. We got to go. All right, we got to go. Make the community you want to have.
There you go.
And look up solar punk art because it's really heartwarming to see.
Yeah. Get out there, touch some grass.
Or some soil. Soil is actually
We're not jumping down rabbit
proven.
holes, Tori.
Okay, all right.
I'm not in this.
Bye-bye, beans.
Bye-bye, beans.
Heyo. It's the end of the episode. Thanks for listening. If you liked what you heard, give us a follow to get your weekly dose of beansplaining. Drop a review wherever you get your podcasts and let us know how we're doing. If you have any questions, complaints, or recommendations, please reach out to rinleyworks@gmail.com. That's RINLEEWORKS@gmail.com. Bye-bye, beans.